Hello and many thanks for joining us on the news desk at 10 on NTA News 24. We're broadcasting live on the network service of the NTA. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Now on the headlines. Organized labor and federal government meeting ends promises to look at proposal on price increase.
They want a reversal of the pump price to what it was, so the government side will take it back.
President Buhari receives Nigerian women representatives, commits to accelerate genuine efforts at achieving gender equity.
To again reaffirm my commitment to end child marriage, boost girl-child education.
INEC to deepen use of technology in electoral process as Senate screens presidential nominee for chairman of electoral management body. Federal government to partner stakeholders towards achieving open defecation-free Nigeria by 2025. And the meeting between the federal government and organized labor at the presidential villa has ended with government promise to consider the proposal of labor on reversal of increment in petrol pump price next week. Austin Aibe reports that the organized labor stand is for government to reverse the latest increase in the pump price of petrol, which government, after deliberation with labor leaders, promised to consult with other relevant stakeholders in the petroleum industry.
Message from the organized labor is clear, and they want a reversal of the pump price to what it was, so the government side will take it back. Even though we know government is not fixing prices of PMS anymore because it's deregulated, but it's part of the economy. So for now, yes, everybody is happy with the situation in the electricity industry, but there's a committee that is working, headed by the Minister of State, Labor and Employment. In fact, next week they will now use the opportunity and take field visits to the different discos in Nigeria, and then come back with a more comprehensive report. Then
till the next 1 week, for NNPC and the Minister of Petroleum to do proper consultation on the reversal of the fuel price back to what it was before.
Earlier, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said everything possible will be done to improve the welfare of Nigerians.
Government delegation, I want to assure the organized labor of the preparedness of government to work hand in hand with you to ensure that resolutions are reached.
The federal government says Nigeria will encourage and support every move that will enhance economic cooperation with the Republic of Algeria. President Muhammadu Buhari gave the assurance while receiving a special envoy of the Algerian president. State House correspondent Adamus Sambo reports that the president also granted audience to the Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization.
The Algerian envoy, who is the North African country's foreign minister, Sabri Boukadoum, who brought a special message from his president, described Nigeria as the pillar of Africa. The message, he said, is geared towards enhancing consultations on what can be done together between Nigeria and Algeria. For President Muhammadu Buhari, projects like the Trans-Saharan Road, international gas pipeline, and other areas of economic cooperation would be given adequate attention for the good of the two countries and their peoples. The president stressed the need for peace, tranquility, and security in African countries, saying unless the environment is secured, it can't be managed effectively. In a similar development, President Buhari welcomed the decision of the African Petroleum Producers Organization to site the headquarters of the African Energy Investment Corporation in Abuja. Exchanging views with the Secretary General of the organization, Nigeria's Dr. Umar Farouk, the President pledged full support of the country in ensuring the successful takeoff of the project. He said the peculiarities of the challenges facing African oil producers require them to come together under the association to share experiences and solve their problems collectively. The President said the growing clamor for a reduction in the use of fossil fuels notwithstanding, countries like Nigeria needs to produce more oil to feed the petrochemical industry and create jobs. President Buhari used the opportunity to urge the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, to consider the weight of the responsibility of Nigeria with 200 million people and severe deficit in infrastructure when sharing oil production cut. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, informed the President that a proposed energy investment cooperation to be started in Abuja will start with $1 billion from the Afro-Exim Bank and is expected to bring employment and other benefits to Nigeria. The Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, Dr. Umar Farouk, expressed the hope that members of the organization will surmount the challenges posed by COVID-19 as well as that of receding fossil fuel use as a result of the climate change treaties signed by member states and other nations. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And now to the National Assembly, where the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has granted audience to the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria, Thamsanga Dennis Mseleku, where they resolved to strengthen old institutions and establish new ones that will improve trade and socio-cultural relations of both countries. Senator Lawan observed that the cooperation of Nigeria and South Africa is very significant to the progress of the continent and therefore should not be taken for granted. He emphasized the importance of reinvigorating Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission.
The Binational Commission is a very good thing for us to promote that, because we shouldn't take anything for granted. We should have more avenues to engage so that we don't allow any gap, because it's when you have gaps that you sometimes run into trouble of not understanding what your brother is doing or what he is saying.
But we would like to ensure that there is a kind of personal touch to the relationship, because at the end of the day, if people are able to pick up the phone and talk to each other immediately, an issue arises, or when there are issues that they need to consult on, it's very, very critical for the leadership of the African Union.
And meanwhile, Nigeria and Algeria are working out strategies of reaching new heights to achieve the 50-year vision that Africans want in terms of prosperity and more modest contributions to growth from services, agriculture and construction. Usman Ali reports that 50 bilateral agreements preoccupied the meeting between Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs and his Algerian counterpart.
Africa's Agenda 2063, a big deal, and that brought together these ministers of key countries in the continent, Nigeria in the west and Algeria in the north. Having their economy on hydrocarbon export means they need to modify their relations now that emerging global uncertainties like the coronavirus must be demystified. Peace and security in Africa, terrorism and political tensions were also part of the agenda here.
We strategize together and make sure that we're on the same page. Otherwise, it will be difficult to achieve significant progress on the continent without that. And then also in the larger world at the multilateral level, the United Nations and other international organizations, we also have and always seek to maintain that solidarity between the two of us and our values. We have the same values and the same world view and vision.
When I said we need Nigeria, definitely, we need Nigeria. as it did in the past for the independences. We have to continue this role. Nigeria should continue this role. And it's working together, hand in hand. It's not dominating or trying to dominate when we say, yes, of course, Nigeria is.
They say diplomatic relations between Algeria and Nigeria turns to be special in view of the strategic development interests each of the countries here occupy in the global space. In Abuja, Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari says the 35% national gender policy will not only be met, but exceeded across key decision-making roles in government. The president was speaking at an audience with a group of Nigerian women representatives on a solidarity visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has more.
The Nigerian women representatives, led by the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talen, were in the State House to confer on President Muhammadu Buhari as Special Champion of Women, Children and the Vulnerable, the He for She Award of Excellence in appreciation of his commitment towards moving women into the mainstream of governance.
Mr. President, we love you and we pray that you will continue to remember Nigerian women in all facets of life.
I have one at home.
Yes.
The women used the opportunity to also appreciate the president for promptly responding to the spike in gender-based violence in the wake of the coronavirus lockdown, as well as approving 45% of the SMSE funds exclusively for women and 5% for other vulnerable groups. They, however, made a case for certain considerations by government in recognition of the positive role women played and continue to play in the sustenance of the next level agenda.
That Mr. President should address the issue of quota and affirmative action in the appointment of women in public offices. 2, direct that 1/3 of all elective positions be reserved only to be contested by women in the party structure as applicable in many of the African countries.
And I say thank you, sir, for all you have done for us women. Thank you for your great stride in the country. You have done very well. It is left for others to do their bits.
President Muhammadu Buhari said his administration is not unmindful of the value Nigerian women bring to the society, especially when supported and given a voice, as displayed in 2015 when they took a bold and decisive step that resulted in the polls speaking in favor of the change agenda.
This administration is a beneficiary of the strong support of Nigerian women. And I truly thank you all for the display of resilience throughout our journey. I want to assure you that this administration remains resolute to not only meet the 35% national gender policy, but to exceed it across key decision-making roles in the government. Let me use this opportunity to again reaffirm my commitment to end child marriage, boost girl-child education, and to ensure that mothers of today and tomorrow are educated, encouraged, and empowered across the country.
The president also promised to show his administration's commitment at the global level towards bringing an end to the exponential rise in violence against women and girls by supporting African Union Chairman's call for relevant treaty to be decided at the forthcoming AU summit in February next year.
Your visit here comes in the wake of growing youth restiveness, which engulfed parts of the country in the last few weeks. As mothers of Nigeria, you play a critical role in bringing about lasting peace. I urge you to engage with our children and youth on the need for dialogue that will yield better understanding going forward. Our youth remain our most treasured asset, and it is our collective responsibility to present to them a pathway to realizing their huge potential.
President Buhari described as delightful that his administration's zero tolerance for gender-based violence, as well as declaring a state of emergency on that, has placed Nigeria ahead in providing support for survivors and bringing perpetrators to book. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
All right, you're still watching the news at 10 on the network service of the NTA. Up ahead, House of Representatives leadership stresses need for capacity building for local councils on constitutional amendments. Details shortly.
Let's blow your trumpets. Advertise on NTA News 24, located at the headquarters premises of the NTA, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. Our rates are affordable. Our reach is far and wide. We are on DSTV channel 419, Star Times channel 101, Go TV channel 46, Free TV channel 703. Please call Henry on 0803 379 0884. NTA News 24. News and more news.
Now, with the centrality of a good sanitation and hygiene to other sectors of the society, Nigeria must scale up efforts and expand the dragnet of collaboration to clean the country of open defecation and attain the 2025 target. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was encouraging stakeholders as the country commemorates the first anniversary of the national campaign against open defecation tagged Clean Nigeria, Use the Toilet. Watch correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports.
The logo of the Clean Nigeria End Open Defecation campaign.
November 19, 2019 was the official expression of commitment to end the practice of 47 million Nigerians that has adversely put Nigeria in global sports, open defecation. A year later, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo again continues from where he left off the national campaign. COVID-19 slowdown notwithstanding, it's got a marginal progress to report as 22 more LGAs have cleaned up their terrains of open defecation and the competition is on course amongst the states to attain the national target of 2025, 5 years ahead of a sustainable development agenda.
We reiterate commitment to support subnational level initiatives towards ending open defecation and improving access to wash services for the populace. To this end, I wish to commend state governments who have taken the initiative to develop their state-specific action plans for the wash sector with a declaration of a state of emergency.
In recognition of their commitment, the ODF local government areas will be prioritized for water supply interventions under PWASH in accordance with the established program protocol.
We are partnering with NYSC.
Still on the line to deliver its promise of getting 2 million Nigerians in diaspora to build a toilet each in the country, the organized private sector in WASH has again launched a campaign tagged Flush It to support the drive. The certified open defecation-free LGAs were honored, and NTA is one of the organizations recognized for their role in the national campaign.
Any program the government brings up for the benefit of the populace, NTA is always at the forefront of propagation, of enlightenment and promotion.
We are the only state that has 10 local government that we declare open gasha.
Marginal achievements or bids and champions made in the campaign against open defecation in Nigeria. However, the country remains the world capital of this practice. And so there is a need for a re-energized commitment by stakeholders to confine the unwanted reputation in the Soke way. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NC News.
And the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has presented open defecation-free certificate to Ifedayo local government in Ogun State, in Osun State, making it the first in southwest Nigeria at the event held in Osogbo. Governor Boyega Oyetola says efforts are being intensified to ensure more local governments in the state follow suit. Femi Afarogun reports.
In the year 2017, Ifedayo local government was listed as one of the 3 local governments practicing open defecation in Osun State. The Oyetola administration embarked on rigorous campaign to put an end to open defecation in most rural communities, which has paid off as UNICEF declared the local council area open defecation free.
All communities in the LGA, Ifedayo LGA, have been...
It is a dream come true for the governor and his wife, who have been at the forefront of the battle against open defecation.
I appeal to all stakeholders to double their efforts to provide toilets in all their homes to achieve statewide open defecation free. Osun must be open defecation free come 2025.
But we are the only state in the southwest Nigeria which has consistently been working in getting rid of open defecation, and with the results showing.
The support from UNICEF made Ifedayo the first local government to attain the feat in southwestern Nigeria.
We want to assure you of our unalloyed loyalty and commitment all the time.
Statistics by UNICEF indicates that 946 million people defecate in open around the world, while 9 out of 10 people engage in the practice in rural communities. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
The Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission has screened the presidential nominee for the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the nominee is optimistic of an improved general election in 2023, as he emphasized that the Electoral Commission will deepen the use of technology in Nigeria's electoral process.
A solidarity visit to the National Assembly by a group just few hours to the commencement of the screening of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu by the Senate as INEC chairman for a second term. His reappointment was the reason for the group's visit, describing it as the right choice by President Muhammadu Buhari as they called on the Senate to take cognizance of the achievements of the INEC chairman nominee.
With me today are leaders of political parties under the auspices of Coalition of Nigerian Political Parties. Ever since Professor Mahmoud Yakubu came into INEC, there have been a lot of reforms. If not for anything, consider electronic transmission, electronic voting, and transmission of results from polling unit to central server.
1 hour later, Professor Mahmoud was at the Senate Committee on INEC to defend his reappointment for a final term of 5 years. Having reeled out some of the achievements of the Commission under his watch, the University of Oxford research scholar listed his plans going forward and how the National Assembly can assist, such as the quick passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill by the first quarter of 2021.
Because we know there are so many other lingering problems that need to be done. What do you intend to do before you finally go out from the election institution?
But the key to success is the amendment to the electoral legal framework. And I'm confident that the Senate and the House will work expeditiously.
He observed that the postponement of the 2019 general election was the most challenging moment in his first term. The committee harped on the need for a review of political parties' registration process and improvement of the welfare of staff of the commission to avoid inducement.
These are the people that go for election, and they could easily be motivated during election days. But if their welfare is improved, I'm sure they will be strong and continue to service well.
Professor Abdullahi Abduzuru was also screened as INEC National Commissioner representing the Northwest. He replaces Abubakar Ahmed Nahuche, who resigned from the position. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
As the House of Representatives commenced the process of constitution review, the leadership says capacity building for lawmakers at councils level is necessary to make the exercise a success. Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, represented by Deputy Speaker Idris Wase, met the assertion at a capacity building workshop for lawmakers at the grassroots. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Among thematic areas of the constitutional review of the 9th House of Representatives is local government autonomy. This is in acknowledging the role of the local government level of providing true leadership to the people. The Deputy Speaker and Chairman Constitutional Review Committee, restated the commitments of the legislature to ensuring that those at the grassroots access resources for development.
Part of the insecurity that we're having today is because the local government is not functioning very well. Yes. And even the development that we're supposed to have across the land is because the local government is not functioning.
When they return home, relating with the village heads, with the student, with the youth leaders, with the vigilante in the local community, with the knowledge that they are going to help in conflict resolution.
In another development, the House Committee on Youth has visited recently plundered NYSC facilities in the FCT to evaluate the level of damage.
The Federal Capital Territory Minister promised and said that they are working on it and they are going to make sure that the FCT camp is relocated to the permanent site.
The committee commended authorities for a quick response by putting the camp in shape for the youth orientation exercise. Lami Ali, NTA News.
And the federal government has reiterated its determination to use international cooperation to stop the illicit exportation and importation of cultural goods. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this while receiving an Ife terracotta antique from the Kingdom of Netherlands in Abuja. Anthony Foster reports.
The Ife terracotta